Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to tackle one of the absolute most misunderstood concepts in the entire business world. When we see a business close up shop, our very first instinct is usually to assume, well, they just weren't making enough money, right? We assume their product flopped, or maybe no one was buying what they were selling. But the surprising reality, and really the whole foundation of what we're going to unpack today, is that a lack of profit is not the real reason most businesses fail. In fact, you can have a wildly profitable business on paper and still end up completely bankrupt. Sounds impossible, doesn't it? Well, today we're unpacking the exact mechanics behind why this happens, and more importantly, how you can avoid it.
Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to imagine two different businesses side by side. First up, we've got this massive operation pulling in a cool $100,000 every single month. I mean, they are doing some serious volume. Next to them, we have a much smaller operation, earning exactly half that, $50,000 a month. Just glancing at those two numbers, it feels like an absolute no-brainer which one is in a better position, doesn't it? That $100,000 business looks like an unstoppable juggernaut compared to the smaller one.
But this brings us to a really critical question. Which of these businesses is actually healthier? If you had to bet your own savings on one of these companies surviving the next 5 years, which one are you picking? Our guts practically scream that the company making double the money is the obvious winner. But here is the crazy, counterintuitive truth of the business world. That smaller, $50,000 business could actually be way healthier and way more stable. They might be winning the game entirely, while that $100,000 giant is secretly teetering on the verge of total collapse. To understand exactly why, we gotta look way past the revenue.
And that brings us to the core concept of this whole explainer, cash flow. Cash flow simply means the continuous movement of money in and out of a business. It's the absolute lifeblood of any operation. You see, the ultimate goal in business isn't just to earn money in theory or, on a ledger. The actual goal is to always have the physical cash available exactly when your daily operations require it. If the money isn't sitting there when the bill comes due, that huge revenue number, it just doesn't matter.
To really wrap our heads around these financial mechanics, let's break cash flow down into two super simple categories. First, you have cash inflow. This is the money actively entering your business. These are the funds actually hitting your bank account from sales or services. On the flip side, there's cash outflow, the money leaving your business to cover everyday expenses. We're talking rent, payroll, materials, the whole shebang. The relationship between these two sides is literally everything. It is a constant, incredibly delicate balancing act.
Let's put a face to this to see how it works in the real world. Let's look at Sarah. Sarah owns a bakery, and man, she is having a fantastic month. She just landed some huge corporate catering contracts and sold $10,000 worth of cakes. 10 grand. For a small bakery, that is a massive, incredibly exciting win. You can just imagine the energy. She's looking at her sales numbers and feeling on top of the world. Her business is highly profitable this month based on the sheer volume of cakes she's moved.
And this brilliantly illustrates the hidden traps so many entrepreneurs fall into. Let's walk through Sarah's timeline here. On day one, Sarah sells that $10,000 in cakes. Amazing, right? But here's the catch. Her corporate clients have net 60 payment terms. That means they're not actually going to pay her for 60 days. Fast forward to day 30. Sarah's rent for the bakery is due. Her electricity bill is due. She has to pay her employees their salaries, and she desperately needs to buy more flour and sugar to keep the ovens running. But she doesn't get paid by her clients until day 60. So now there is this massive, dangerous 30-day gap where she owes a ton of money, but has absolutely nothing sitting in the bank.
This exact scenario creates what we call the cash flow problem. Sarah's bakery is incredibly profitable on paper. Honestly, if an accountant just looks at her sales for the month, she looks like a massive success. But the harsh reality is she's completely out of cash today. She can't pay her landlord with paper profits, right? She can't pay her staff with a promise that a client's going to pay her next month. Despite having a fantastic, profitable business, she is in a severe existential crisis.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it visually exposes the ultimate illusion of profit. On one hand, you have this high paper profit. It's towering, it's impressive, and it gives this totally false sense of security. But right next to it is the actual cash available, and it is completely flat, zero. Your sales ledger can literally be pointing to the moon. But if your actual bank account is empty when your expenses are due, that paper profit offers you absolutely zero protection.
Which brings us to the core thesis of this entire explainer. Why do businesses actually fail? They run out of cash. It is really that simple and honestly that brutal. A huge chunk of the businesses that closed their doors this year were perfectly profitable. People genuinely wanted their products. But because of that dangerous timing gap between cash outflow and cash inflow, they just couldn't survive. Without actual cash on hand, you can't pay your employees, you can't buy the inventory you need for the next order, and you simply cannot keep the lights on. Profit looks absolutely great on a spreadsheet, but cash is the oxygen that actually keeps the business breathing.
Fortunately, it's not all doom and gloom. There is a way to protect yourself. To build cash flow stability and create room for real sustainable growth, there are 3 simple, highly actionable steps you can take. Step 1. Get your customers to pay faster. Negotiate better terms, ask for deposits up front, or even offer discounts for early payment. Do whatever it takes to shorten that timeline. Step 2. Reduce unnecessary expenses. You've got to slow down your cash outflows so your money stays in your account just a little bit longer. And Step 3. Keep an emergency cash reserve. Having a buffer means that when day 30 rolls around and you haven't been paid yet, you actually have a safety net to cover rent and salaries without going under.
So the crucial point is, the whole takeaway really boils down to this. Revenue brings money. Profit measures success. But cash flow keeps your business alive. If you understand this one distinction, you are already light years ahead of most entrepreneurs who are just blindly chasing revenue while their bank accounts quietly drain to zero. You have to master the movement of your money, not just the amount of it. So I'm going to leave you with this question. Right now, in your own work or business, are you just counting your paper profits, or are you actually mastering your cash flow to ensure you survive to see tomorrow? Think about it. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I will catch you on the next one.